to war. Football is back, baby, and already a thrilling opening day of the season, and it continues here in Atlanta. Euphoric feeling, if you will. How about HBCUs in the house? The 25th ranked team in FCS, Florida A&M, taking on Norfolk State. Well, I'll tell you this, folks. The last time that the Rattlers stepped foot in the ATL, they owned it. And look how they walked in tonight. Loose, swaggy, and ready for another successful season. The HBCU national champions. And how did they get there? You look back to 2023, and certainly it was a season to remember. 8-0 through the SWAC, finished with 12 wins, the most since 1978 under then head coach Willie Simmons. And how about one of the best defenses in all of FCS, the dark cloud defense they like to call themselves, wreaked havoc, disruption on the field, and then nothing like a little drama to close out your season, a comeback victory in the Cricket Celebration Bowl over Howard University to hoist the trophy at the end of the year. Well, look as the Rattlers take the field and win the toss and will defer. Norfolk State will get the ball first.
Can you feel it, Tiff? You feel it in the air?
No
With that thud that's going to come off the right foot, college football 2024 is going to be in the air.
Michael Smith, the booming leg for the Rattlers. And coming out of the end zone on the return, and Norfolk State will start inside the 10 as Jalen Parnham on the return. Where we talked about a number of fresh faces, we've got to introduce you to Jalen Daniels, the transfer quarterback. Started his career as a walk-on at South Carolina, a JUCO transfer out of Garden City Community College, and now here at Norfolk State, winning the starting job over who was assumed to be the incumbent Otto Kuhns.
And size stands out. When you see him, he has a presence about him. He's a complete 6'5" guy that can move around in the pocket as well. Tremendous presence for Norfolk State.
Kevon King with the carry. I'll tell you this, when we had the opportunity to talk with head coach Dawson Odoms, very high on this young man. We met him yesterday. Certainly that 6'5", 230, full of poise and presence when we stood next to him, and that's something that you can't teach.
That and the fact that he has a shotgun for an arm. This is a guy that's got the big arm that you like to have in today's college football world. He can make all the throws, and he makes great decisions. He'll be tested against a very stingy Florida A&M defense.
First pass attempt for the Spartans, and it is complete to Elijah Mitchell. Those returners, a sophomore. You talked about Jalen Daniels, and sometimes, and I know, Jay, you have this experience coming over, starting your career at Long Beach State and then moving into Howard University as a quarterback. There are a lot of nerves and some ways of getting to know things in your players. And Dawson Odoms, in his 4th year as a head coach, said, hey, look, the way that you welcome in new guys is you have veterans who welcome you into the locker room, and that was something that they didn't have to worry about this season, as you referenced the experience that they had coming back. 3rd and 1 now on the opening drive for the Spartans. And in motion, and they hand it. A big run here, Chris, up the seam, and how about Kevon King? Can he outlet the secondary? Yes, an 82-yard sprint to the end zone. First score of the season for the Spartans in 2024.
The strength of Norfolk State their offensive line. They thought that they could handle the line of scrimmage against Florida A&M. They pull the guard around. That's Jaden Bryant, big number 62, and the rest is King in a foot race to the end zone. Spartans on the board first.
These former foes out of the MEAC and Norfolk State hasn't got a win against Florida A&M since 2017. Will they open this season with a big touchdown? Explosive plays is something that offensive coordinator Jason Phillips talked about. And what do you do after you celebrate? Jay, you got to do a little step, got to put on a little dance, show out for them in the end zone.
You know, as we talked about, you know, this is HBCU football. HBCU football, it's a cultural thing. It's a football thing. You got to make room to strike up the band. And one of the things I love about HBCU football, whichever team has the band going on, that means the other team is in trouble. So if you're the Spartan Legion in this stadium right now, you get to play all you want, and all the Florida A&M Marching 100 band can do is sit there and watch. That's the culture that we talk about. It's more than just on the field. It's getting everybody hyped up in the stands as well. And King delivered with a big-time run for the green and gold of Norfolk State University.
Spartans fans who traveled here already pleased with what they're seeing. That was the longest play that the Spartans have seen in more than a year. That was longer than any offensive play than they had last year, as the Spartan Legion is ready to strike up hay in the stands. Here on the return, and the Rattlers trying to answer a solid return for the opening drive, 23 yards out. And another look at the touchdown.
What really set it up, it was 3rd and 1. They figured, hey, we can get the 1 yard, but they saw something they liked schematically by pulling the left side of the line around to the right side. Great vision and patience on display. And when we talked to the offensive coordinator, Jason Phillips, he said the key was being in 3rd and short against this very aggressive defensive line for Florida A&M. Job well done by the big guys up front for the Spartans.
And now it's the Rattlers' turn as they feature a transfer quarterback in Daniel Richardson, a graduate out of Miami, and the first play from scrimmage. And they hand it off. Really nowhere to go for Levante Somerset as he was stuffed early on. A.J. Richardson got his nose in there. But going back to Daniel Richardson, I mean, this is a guy who's made a couple of stops previously at FAU, started his career at Central Michigan. A lot of intangibles. That's when we talked to Coach James Colsey III. They love the intangibles, the leadership that Richardson brings to this team.
Experience, poise, creativity, some of the words that they use to describe his style of play. Making the right decisions with the football. Very heated, hotly contested quarterback battle, and Richardson getting the nod. However, we do expect to see 2 quarterbacks play in this game, as Junior Murtaugh has earned the right to play quarterback for Florida A&M in this game also. So we'll watch how that quarterback battle continues to unfold throughout this game and during the season.
That pass was complete to Jalen Rogers. This is a basically new wide receiver core. We had talked about Rat Boys in seasons past, but Jamari Gassett, the one returning from last year's championship team with playing experience. A penalty on the play as Somerset on the carry.
Might have been some movement down at the bottom of your screen on the offense.
Illegal formation. Offense. More than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Here's our Labor Day weekend ESPN ABC college football lineup that starts next Thursday night. Deion Sanders in Colorado hosts North Dakota State, the powerhouse out of the FCS, to start us off. In Temple, Oklahoma, as the Sooners now in the SEC. That's Friday night. What a triple header we have for you on Saturday. And then Sunday night, it's number 13 LSU hosting 23rd ranked USC in Death Valley. 1st and 15 after the penalty. And the carry, and really nowhere to go. Controlling the line of scrimmage and being big up front is something that we heard the coaching staff of the Spartans talk about, and thus far, we've seen them already stick their hand in there. It's Tariq Miles on the stop.
A good job on the tackle there. Something to note, Florida A&M, their offensive philosophy this year probably going to change a little bit. Going to lean a little bit more on the running game. We saw Richardson go under center and take a snap under center for the run, but if you can't push the pile, you can't be a run-first team, especially against a defense like Norfolk State, which is collapsing the pocket.
Richardson rolling to his right and incomplete through the hands of his intended target, Jalen Rogers. That now brings up 3rd and 14. Well, you think back to the creative play calling and the offensive genius we saw from head coach Willie Seasons the last 6 years with the Rattlers. They hand the reins over now to new offensive coordinator Joe Henry, who coached that offensive line, feels very confident about this group as they've got a number of guys returning up front as well. Richardson down the field, deep into coverage, and 3 Spartan jerseys around him. Dangerous throw down the middle, and you're shaking your head, Jay.
Yeah, absolutely wrong place to go with the football. You know, when you're going to throw to the single receiver side, he has to be wide open. He goes backside, single receiver. Count the green jerseys. You got a 3-man route to the right. He wants to go left. Look at the green jerseys around the single receiver side. Can't do that. 3 guys with an opportunity to make an interception. Have to find a better place to go with the football. Very fortunate that ball was not intercepted by Ricky Harrelson.
He's set to return it. He's Jalen Parnham. Trey Wilhoit, preseason first-team all-SWAC punter, lets it fly. And Parnham calls for the fair catch inside the 30. Well, I'll tell you, all the emotion leading up to this season, it's on the field, already been off the field. Ladies and gentlemen, just to remind you, HBCU football is back.
MEAC football, where speed meets power, where every game is a battle and every moment counts. This is the home of thrilling action, heart-stopping excitement, and unmatched passion. Our fans, they're the heartbeat, the soul, the pride that drives us. The Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference.
Hope and promise, that's the feeling from Dawson Odoms after last season when the Spartans were in a number of games, Jay. The fact that they had 5 different games decided by a touchdown, tied for most losses by single digits in the FCS. Dawson Odoms feels like, again, that experience, that returns for them will help push them. He said, you give me that slate again with this group, I feel like we're going to be able to finish this year. After that opening statement that the Spartans made back on the field for their second possession, Jaquez Jones, the pass incomplete on the outside to the graduate out of Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, you got to make that throw there. That's a staple in any college football thing. A little bubble screen, well-called play, great block in there. Quarterback just skips it on the ground. Had it been a lateral pass, would have been okay, but got to work out that kink and make that completion. And going back to Dawson Odoms and the hope that he had, we said, you're very confident for a team that's coming in here 3-8 from a season ago. He said, that was 3-8 on paper, and we were a number of games that we should have won, but we were just too young to win. All off season, their goal was finish, put ourselves in those same positions we were a year ago, and we're going to figure out a way to win those games. I like that philosophy.
On 2nd and 10, they hand it off once more. This time, it's Xavion Evans as we send it down to Quick Kesnick. He's got more on Dawson Odoms.
Well, 6 of their 8 losses were one-score games in the 4th quarter. Okay, they finished 3-8, but Coach said that this game will decide whether or not they belong. It can unlock the journey this year. Remember, they bring back 84 players, 18 starters. And Coach Odoms finally telling us this is, quote-unquote, our roster.
Thanks so much, Q.
84. Yeah, that's unheard of in college football today.
Yeah.
With the portal and everything out there now, given, if you're not winning a lot of games, people are knocking down your doors. But to have 84 returners, and a lot of those guys with playing experience, they can really turn the tide in a hurry in Norfolk.
Not able to get the play off before the play clock expired, and that's going to push the Spartans back.
Delay of game. Offense. Number 2. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Did you catch that? My wordplay there? They could really change the tide in the MEAC.
From the Tidewater area.
Tidewater area.
Yes.
So, but what they're doing right now is what you cannot do against Florida A&M. Face third down and long situations. They did not want to face this situation. Don't be surprised if you see them decide to run the ball or try a very low-risk pass.
Well, last time it was third down, the 82-yard scamper for a touchdown, and another big run here on third down from Xavion Evans. And Evans, one of those guys coming back, had PT last year, knows this offense. He was used to carrying some of the load. He says, I got you here on third down.
Whether it's 3rd and 1 or 3rd and long, they are running the football directly at Florida A&M. Poor job of tackling from the second level by the safety. Norfolk State keeps the drive alive in unexpected fashion, completing a long run on 3rd and long.
23-yard pickup for Evans. And they hand the ball off again, this time really nowhere to go, as Cameron Donald, one of the new faces along that defensive line.
And you see here, they're just getting up to that second level. Great job by the center, Garrison Wheatley, number 67, of getting up, and then a poor angle in the secondary. And I think it's the timing that's off. Florida A&M is used to dominating the line of scrimmage. Well, these running backs are finding creases, and the secondary defenders are not in a position to make the tackle for the Rattlers, allowing Norfolk State to rip off runs in chunks.
Well, we talked about the dominating defense we saw from the Rattlers last season, 4th in FCS in stopping the run, only giving up 94 yards on the ground. Here, the Spartans taking full advantage as Kevon King gets across midfield and into Rattler territory, and there's a flag that comes flying out.
The unsportsmanlike on Florida A&M, I believe. They pull a helmet off of one of the guys.
I think I saw the helmet come off of one of the receivers downfield. I think it was Cameron Thomas. Derek Hatton, our official for today. Mike Pack not working, but the head referee is saying exactly what you said. That 15-yard penalty is marching the Spartans even closer to that end zone. The ball will be spotted on the Rattlers' 31-yard line.
Something that Florida A&M needs to work on from a season ago. Although they were so successful, they were the most penalized team. Yeah, they need to work on the discipline.
1st and 10 now. Jalen Daniels hands it off once again, having success up the middle and going right to the teeth of the defense from Florida A&M. It's Xavion Evans. He's gotten a steady hand of rushes here on this drive.
Yeah, they call him the most complete back. They take the tight end, number 8, Akeem Wright, move him across the formation, and just ask him to pick a hole. Same play. They ran the same play consecutive times, little hump motion by the tight end. They're crowding the box. So what they're doing is saying, we're going to play this game in between the tackles. We're going to run downhill and let our running backs find creases and neutralize your defensive line. So the O-line doesn't have to dominate up front. They just have to neutralize Florida A&M's defensive line.
Really lopsided in total yards, 136, obviously 82 of them eaten up by King's long run for a touchdown, the only score of the game tonight. But Norfolk State thus far averaging 16 yards per carry on the ground. Once again, the rushing attack and staying on his feet down at the 10-yard line. There's King once again, a gain of 9.
And I'm going to tell you, the center, number 67, Garrison Wheatley, is really doing a good job controlling the line of scrimmage. Watch him. Get his guy, twist him, so there's a cutback lane for King to go to. Anytime your center can win that battle at point of attack and turn his man, the running back can see that visually and knows there's daylight to find that crease.
Garrison Wheatley, incredibly valuable to this group. Most improved according to the coaches. And this time up the middle again Kevon King, who was closing in on 100 yards, is past the century mark on that carry. And what did Jason Phillips talk to us about, right? Being able to be impactful on first down, staying ahead of the chains. And King is feeling it already in the opening quarter of the 2024 season, and he's working so hard.
He's even.
Yeah,
you think he'd have over 100 yards this quick in the game. You got to pace yourself, brother. But what they're doing, they continue to do, crowd the box, bring a tight end in there, and just look for some running room.
10th play of the drive right here. Daniels deciding to keep it himself on 1st and goal. And did the ball come out, but they say Daniels was down. Pickup of 2. It's going to be 2nd and goal, Norfolk State.
And Florida A&M is going to have to make some changes. You see this, they're finding daylight, and every time they see in the creases and they're running the daylight, and Florida A&M wants to have a 4-2 alignment, but look, they're running so well on them that the running back's pulling himself out the game. He's saying, oh, wow, I ain't going to be this easy. He's got to get rid of some stuff, and they'll hopefully hydrate him up and get him back in this game.
Well, this Rattler defense has to figure out something here as Evans and this Spartan rushing attack is having its way here in the fourth quarter.
Let me not sound politically correct or grammatically correct. They ain't bouncing nothing. A bounce is something you say in football when you run in the middle and you bounce outside the daylight. Norfolk State is told, we're not bouncing anything. We're going to run everything in between the tackles. We're relying on our offensive line to get the push. And this is a beautiful display of offensive football.
All right, so now Darryl McMillan feeling the effects of the start of the opening season here. They're running so well. Oh, boy, what a shot. There's nothing to say to that. You just let that sit and marinate. We'll step aside and come right back.
Rated T for teen.
These are dangerous times.
Back in the ATL, pair of Spartans a little bit squeamish. They lost their lunch and their dinner. A Technicolor yawn, vomiting on the field. And during that stoppage, we had a member of their staff have to come out and clean it up. You talk about gross. I mean, I'm just looking at it, trying to hold down my dinner.
Woo. Hey, Q, they say leave it all out there on the field, right? Quite literally. It was left out there on the field.
The whole pregame meal.
Yeah.
And then some.
Meanwhile, 3rd and goal here from the 1-yard line. They're going to try to push it in. Jalen Daniels, he gets across the goal line, and so it seems, but no call has been made, and there it is. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns for the Norfolk State Spartans. Jalen Daniels scoring his first touchdown in the green and gold uniform.
And they made this look easy, you know, the Philly push, as you like to see, and they get there, and he's in the end zone quickly. And how fitting they cap it off by running the ball right up the middle. Garrison Wheatley, the center, winning yet another battle at the line of scrimmage to get his quarterback into the end zone as Norfolk State continues to look impressive running the football here in Atlanta.
An overdose of the rushing attack from the Spartans thus far. 11 rushes compared to just 1 pass.
And they're doing this against the 25th ranked team in all of FCS football.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Florida A&M ranked 25th. Defense, one of the best in the country a year ago. But Norfolk State said, we don't care.
Medium.
14-0 advantage for Norfolk State. And talk about a team effort. Let's shout out Vanessa Hale, who had to clean it all up. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going in the red bag on the sideline. You go, girl.
Rated T for teen.
The Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff is brought to you by Cricket 5G. Visit DisneyOnTheYard.com and Coke Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever? Try and decide. The Spartan Legion, they've already gotten warmed up. They're preparing for halftime to take the field. And let me tell you already, Jay, the Spartan Legion, along with Norfolk State fans, have plenty to be pleased about through 2 possessions in this 2024 campaign. Touchback into the end zone. So you think back to last year, the reigning Celebration Bowl champions. The cost of winning, though, comes with it. Willie Simmons, after 6 years, decides to go on to the FBS level and become the Duke running backs coach. All right, so you lose the coach of the year, the SWAC offensive and defensive players of the year, and a number of players exit out the program for one reason or another.
And I'm just going to say this, after winning the national championship, that's a whole lot of losses. There's some losing going on there. They've got to get back to those winning ways. Losing the players, losing the coach and stuff there. It's been a very, call it, different offseason for Florida A&M after that highlight of winning an HBCU national championship. See what they can do to get back on the right track.
Well, this is the Celebration Bowl offensive MVP. First time we're seeing Kelvin Dean, and Dean on the carry, a pickup of 9. And we will see how Florida A&M responds. Now, you go back to that Cricket Celebration Bowl of last year. Just to remind our viewers, you can never count out these Florida A&M Rattlers. They were down 14-0 against Howard back in that game, and were able to come back and win 30-26, and Kelvin Dean Jr. was a big part of that success.
They walked down the Bison. I think one of the keys is going to be this line of scrimmage. I mean, Norfolk State is showing that they are physical, making them earn everything. 2nd and 1, you figure it'd be easy to just pick up a yard. That was a tough run there by Dean and one of the mainstays. You talk about the new pieces of the puzzle, where every now and then you need what they like to call the OGs to carry you through. And Kelvin Dean's an OG at Florida A&M, been at the program for a while, and he's been battle-tested.
Florida A&M, the 25th ranked team in all of FCS, trailing by 2 touchdowns here on 1st and 10. Daniel Richardson looks down the field, stays down the field, and throws it. The nearest target was Jalen Ward, but incomplete at 2nd down. Jay, so far, what you've seen, although very limited in sample size, what have you thought thus far about Daniel Richardson?
He's not showing the flashes that they talked about yet. You know, one of the throws he had earlier for the first down, they did pick up. The ball was very low, but a great catch by the receiver. Threw the ball in the coverage a couple of times. So at this point, you have to wonder, is he seeing the field well? The accuracy part will come if you got it. But if you're not seeing the field well, you will become very inaccurate and ineffective.
Undersized quarterback at 5'10", and he decides to keep it, calls his own number, shows up. A bruising run there by Daniel Richardson, better than 200 pounds, stopped by Jaden Smith, but a pickup of 17 yards, and the Rattlers are in Spartan territory.
Yeah, just a good job of calling his own number, realizing they were bringing pressure from Dalen Long, number 7, off the edge. He overcommits to stopping the running back. Great job and decision by Daniel Richardson. Maybe this will get the transfer going as he tries to deliver a little flipper there at the end of that run.
Richardson, out of that Miami area, hotbed for football in the state of Florida, hands it off here on 1st and 10. And A.J. Richardson on the stop, the All-American from a season ago. And the freshman who was kind enough to get mic'd up in pregame, and certainly when we had a chance to see him, Q and I made this observation, hey, you know, he's got the dreads going, but when he stood up next to us, he puffed his chest out, as Q mentioned, and he had a presence about him as well.
Absolutely. You talk about one of the best linebackers in the country, and he's really matured. He's a great kid. They say he's a great father. Having that father responsibilities makes you grow up quick, and he's playing with the purpose, just a sophomore, but one of the best in FCS football.
On the backfield now, Thad Franklin, but instead the play action, and it's complete, still on his feet, is hurdling the defender, and Kobe Gross picks up the first down and more. 27 yards and into the red zone.
One of the things that Florida A&M keeps is a staple of tight ends. They've got a plethora of them, and a good job by Gross of the run after the catch. You try and tackle the big fella low, the athleticism to stay up on his feet and to pick up big yardage. Big play for the Rattlers.
The grad out of San Ramon, California, came over after starting his career at Florida State. Richardson with time has the man into the end zone.
What a catch.
And it's a touchdown. Thad Franklin, who we saw enter the game on this possession, the 20-yard catch and score, and the Rattlers are on the board in 2024.
One of those things where a lot of green jerseys there, but tremendous concentration by Franklin to hold on to the football. After he made the catch, that was the easy part. There were a number of Spartans there trying to dislodge that football. Tremendous concentration for the touchdown. Famu.
Cameron Gillis on to attempt the extra point. It's good. 7 plays, 75 yards, and the question marks about Daniel Richardson perhaps being answered. Back-to-back 20-yard completion. Richardson is pumped up as he throws his first TD for the Rattlers. You look around the stands and a number of fans in attendance, but a lot of orange and green, and the marching 100 now has an opportunity to get going.
We talk about a guy like Thad Franklin giving something for the Rattlers to celebrate on. Well, take a look. This is him. He's going to come across the formation, get open into the flat. Miscommunication for him to have that. Try to compliment Florida A&M, and you won't let me get my compliment. I mean, sometimes they're far and few between. But
True,
call it like I see it. I call it like I see it.
The Spartans open again, just like they have done all game, with a run this time from Kyron Benjamin. First time that we've seen Benjamin tote the rock. First down on his first carry.
And they're winning. One of the few times we've seen a running back or a runner bounce the ball outside of the pocket, but give credit to the left side of that line where Samuel Eskridge and Jaden Bryant hang out, controlling the line of scrimmage, leaving room to run the football. Impressive display of the running game still by Norfolk State.
Number of rushes of 10 yards or more so far tonight. Once again, they give it to Benjamin, and Benjamin, a good carry on first down, out to the 40-yard line, a pickup of 5.
And I saw something there, and I'm going to show you something when we come back of why Norfolk State is continuing to control the line of scrimmage. And just remember this: hard head makes a soft backside. Hard head makes a soft backside.
Let me tell you, Norfolk State went hard to start off this ball game. They've got a 14-7 advantage. Behold the green and gold. They're pumped up. So are the Rattlers back in it. Cut it in half. It's 14-7 after 1. Let's take a look at that last run with our Coca-Cola playbook. Jay, what are you seeing here, man?
Let me show you hard-headedness. We can count numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people to stop the run. Okay, can that work? No, not when you've got, take a look at the same numbers, you got 8 guys in the box for Norfolk State, including the quarterback. So they've got the 5 linemen, they've got the 6 guy with the tight end on the line of scrimmage, a 220-pound quarterback in the backfield to go with the running back. They're going to keep winning. Hard-headed. Florida A&M's being hard-headed, relying on the front 4 and the 2 linebackers. You got to change that scheme. You got to get another person in the box. Right now, they're not doing it again. Norfolk State is winning the number count, and that's why they're able to rip off yards when they need to.
holding there as that front seven able to stop Evans. A pickup of 2, but a number of white jerseys in the mix. James Gardner among them. But I think that brings up the question because there were some unknowns about that front seven. You talk about Cameron Donald and Davion Westmoreland, 2 transfers that joined the line, and then Jerome Nichols, the Mike linebacker coming over from Michigan, Eric Horn getting his first start. And again, you don't have the SWAC Defensive Player of the Year and Isaiah Major to help fill those voids.
But as an offensive coordinator, if I know I'm only dealing with 6 in the box and I don't have to worry about that safety from up high, then you can almost pick how you're going to get there.
Way to hold here, though, on 3rd down and a big stand as the stop made from the Rattlers.
And the one thing that can help you out is you get some fantastic individual efforts to win their one-on-one matchups.
Well, that was a big stop there on 3rd down, as that's the first time the Spartans haven't been successful converting a 3rd down. Remember, that's how they scored both of their touchdowns. This time will be introduced to the special teams unit, the punter on, and Noah Tracy. And Jamari Gassett standing at his own 15-yard line, and the play clock expires. Delay of game.
Delay of game. Offense, number 1. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
Second delay of game penalty against the Spartans tonight. That backs him up. And Gassett is one of those guys who joined the program last year. Can the speedster make something of this return off the punt? He's got a chance to do something with it. And Jamari Gassett pointing out, saying, block for me. I got some room along that right sideline across midfield. And great starting field position for Florida A&M.
What a recovery by the Rattlers. You get the stop on defense, and then the special teams step up and make a big play. One cut, then get up the field by the returner Gassett, and big play. Florida A&M starting to find that swag that led them to a championship a season ago.
Second team all-conference in the preseason honors for Jamari Gassett as both a receiver and a returner. Gassett out of Tampa, Florida. Only returning receiver for the Rattlers. He's got that speed and versatility that they like. They can put him outside or in the slot.
This is where Florida A&M does their damage. The defense gets the stop, gets a 3 and out, and then the offense comes out on the field and they're ready to try and pounce on you a little bit with the defense with a short rest.
We'll wait to hear the call from our head referee, Derek Hatton, after whistles before the play even got going. A quick conference with the Zebras on the field. At the home of Georgia State. This is their stadium in which they play here at Center Park.
If I was going to ask you what sound does a zebra make or what does a zebra sound like, but I think we're going to be still wondering. Having trouble with his mics all night.
You should take a shot at it here, partner.
Oh, come on, guys. We got a good football game going. We got a good football game going. The players are putting it out there. I'm curious what this could be.
Please reset the game clock to 1325. Reset the game clock to 1325.
Okay, so adding time back to the game clock. But Jay, this is what we are looking forward to all season long. Tightly contested games. I mean, this is a Florida A&M team that ranked in the preseason top 25 in all of FCS. They're the defending Black College Football national champions, and right now trailing Norfolk State out of the MEAC by a score. Daniel Richardson with time has a man open in some space, and the pass is complete. Jamari Gassett set up this drive after that big return, and here Gassett with a 28-yard completion.
Yeah, I mean, he's the workhorse wide receiver. They call him dynamic, can run all the routes, and you see the separation. Nobody close to him. Easy recognition for Daniel Richardson. And this Florida A&M offense starting to find some rhythm offensively.
Well, Richardson, who joined the program in January with the intentions of being a full-time starter. You mentioned the QB battle in camp with Junior Meritovich. It was Richardson that won out, and right now Richardson, you talk about that glue, 3 passes for 20-plus yards. This time he's going forward again, and great pass breakup by Devon Allen in the end zone. An Aeneas Williams Award watch lister. He's a gamer. And this guy is a part of that great secondary for the Spartans.
Yeah, he along with Teron Mallory. Look at him. That's just how you play it. Keep yourself in a position where if the ball comes, he can use that arm to get around and knock the ball away. And he's a guy that grew in the program. Started off as a guy that liked playing nothing but off coverage. Couldn't get him to play bump and run, man-to-man. Now they can't stop. Look at him on this next play, running to the line of scrimmage. He wants to get up in the face of the receiver and challenge him with this press coverage.
Let's see what the Virginia Beach native does here on second down. And nowhere to go but backwards. And nice tackle by Keyshawn Lynch. A veteran presence up front, a loss of 5 on the play.
And right now what Florida A&M is doing is fishing. You know, offensive coordinator Joe Henry, when they put that quarterback under the center, they're looking for a certain look, hoping they can set up some play-action pass. In order to set up play-action pass, though, you have to be a threat running the ball. And what you saw there was Norfolk State say, if you do decide to run the football to set up the pass, we're going to make you pay with a tackle for a loss and a great play by Lynch.
First tackle for a loss by either team tonight. Now, 3rd and long. The line of gain, the 9-yard line of the Spartans, and set up a little screen and let Thaddeus Franklin try to do the rest, but a number of green jerseys right around them to stop them, and they're going to be held short.
That was why that previous play with the individual effort by Keyshawn Lynch was so big. They're able to move him back and allow him to give him a couple yards on the screenplay and hold the Rattlers to a field goal attempt.
A 33-yard field goal attempt for Cameron Gillis, who has been an accurate leg for the Rattlers throughout his career. It's good. And Famu puts 3 more points on the board. James Colsey III in his Rattler debut on the sideline says he tapped Daniel Richardson for this opportunity. He started to get a groove, starting to bring some noise, and Richardson is bringing the Rattlers back into this one.
In this one here.
Prime time matchup here in Atlanta team and FCS. Florida A&M taking on their former MEAC foe, Norfolk State, who came out and just punched the Rattlers in the mouth. They dominated that first quarter, better than 150 yards on the ground, had great success. Jalen Parnham, who had to field that one, a gain of 17 on the return. When you think about this Norfolk State program, a part of the 6-team MEAC, North Carolina Central picked to finish first despite Howard, who made it to the Celebration Bowl and winning the MEAC last year. The Bison picked second. Meanwhile, preseason players of the year coming out of Washington, D.C., and Jared Hunter and Kenny Gallup Jr. And as we mentioned earlier, Otto Coons, the intended starter for the season, suspended for the first 4 games because of academic ineligibility.
That could be a storyline there. If Norfolk State wins this game, Coons going to get that job back.
Well, right now, they're winning the battle on the ground, and no whistle there as King lost the ball on the turf. Nayron Jenkins returns it. However, they're going to say that King was down. And we had a chance to be in Norfolk where It's the headquarters of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, and this Norfolk State team was picked to finish 5th in the preseason poll. But right now, Jay, this is a group under Dawson Odoms who has high expectations and already starting to unlock their potential here in this opening game of the season. King again trying to bounce to the outside. Deco Wilson, one of the tacklers to bring him down, along with Braylon Oliver.
You see that there, a little disrespect there for a team that returns a lot of guys, but talk about, I think the storyline there was Central, who got beat by Howard by 50 this past season, is projected this year to come ahead of the Bison. So been a little flip-flop there. Those are the two top teams there, but I'm telling you right now, this Norfolk State team is looking really good versus the 25th ranked team in FCS football.
Here on second down and driven backward. The tackle for loss, James Ash. First time we've called his name tonight. One of those guys who is explosive up front. They're ready for him to take it to another level this year. And he switched his number from 99 to 0. And Ash right here, disruptive.
Yeah, and they're giving him that 7-man look right now. So in having 7 guys, it frees it up for more one-on-one individual efforts, and a great play by James Ash from his nose tackle position.
4 receivers set, 3 to the bottom of your screen here on 3rd and 7. Let's see what the Spartans dial up here. They've had success on 3rd down. Daniels thought about it, double clutch, then completes it to Jones.
Play.
What a move! Jack has Jones. The yards after catch by Jones, or Jock, as he's known. Boy, he's played a healthy amount of football, great experience, 26-yard pickup and a first down.
That was pro. I mean, that ball was in the air for a while. Watch Jones come to the ball. As the ball's coming to him, he's not waiting. He runs towards the ball to get leverage so he can run after catch and pick up the first down. So often a wide receiver will sit there and wait for the ball to come to him. He came back to get the ball to get a running start, forcing the Rattlers to get in the trail position. Big-time play by Jacquez Jones.
Well, they feel like he's a big kid coming over from Lane College out of the SIAC Division II. Meanwhile, Kyron Benjamin full steam ahead. And Benjamin brought down by Braylon Oliver, but a gain of 7 on the play. And we've talked about it all night long. The rushing attack and the success that the Spartans have had on the ground, taking full advantage of that experienced offensive line. And you see 185 yards on the ground for Norfolk State tonight, and they're going to continue to add to that total. Bouncing to the outside, trying to cut back in, and a first down picked up by Benjamin. He's down at the 26-yard line.
In this battle that you've got between the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator, Norfolk State versus Florida A&M, it's playing out right in front of our eyes, which has been unique. As you see Norfolk State getting ready to line up with a double tight end formation. You don't see much of that in college football nowadays, but that's the chess match that we're seeing in the trenches, and Norfolk State taking advantage of it to the fullest.
Well, Jason Phillips, the new offensive coordinator, had great success at Alcorn State, and now he's got the recipe for success early on here, as he's got a stable of running backs that he can count on, along with that great offensive line. And Jay, I've got to ask the question, because you think the 25th ranked team in FCS, the reigning HBCU national champions, did you expect what we're seeing right now and Norfolk State really handling the Rattlers?
Thought we'd see a close game because of the experience coming back, and that goes back to why this is the MEAC SWAC Challenge. MEAC plays a little bit more physical brand of football, SWAC a little bit more finesse, but Florida A&M has been one of the strongest teams in FCS football for the past several seasons. To see Norfolk State push them around like this, quite surprising, Tiff, quite surprising. We know the MEAC normally wins the battle of the trenches. We kind of learned that. But this is a dominating performance in the trenches thus far in this game.
9 yards on average per carry for the Spartans, and King, who's wrapped up and brought down a few Rattler defenders there. Andre Powell Jr. among them. When you think about how you're able to control this game and the clock by keeping the ball on the ground, better than 16 minutes the Spartans have had possession in this first half.
Look at that.
I mean, it's astounding right now. Yeah, I mean, they're on pace potentially for 400 yards in this game, or perhaps more.
And like I said, if you're Florida A&M, to only be down by 4 right now with a team running the ball that's effectively, they're fortunate.
King already, who's amassed a career high, and he's stuffed there on 3rd and 2, however. And again, we've seen a couple of holds from Florida A&M. This time, Davion Westmoreland, the transfer out of Kansas, coming in to help make the stop.
They said he has to make plays. They were expecting stuff from guys like Westmoreland and Donald to make some plays. But right now, what do you do? A little surprise here. Give credit to the Florida A&M defense having Norfolk State go for the field goal. I get it, but I just think you take a little momentum every now and then. And you give it a shot. Your team played lights out. You give them one last challenge. Can you pick up 2 yards for us?
First charge timeout at half. This is a 30-second
timeout taken on the field. The first by Florida A&M will step aside as well. 4th and 2 coming up on the other side.
Rated T for Teen.
Welcome back here to Atlanta. Just a reminder, folks, coming up on the All-State Halftime Report, we've got 2 outstanding bands in Florida A&M's Marching 100 and the Spartan Legion Band out of Norfolk State. Remember, you can see the entire performance on ESPN+. Certainly something that we're looking forward to. Jay, you know, the song of the summer, right? I mean, you keep
like
up,
us.
right?
They're not like us.
Okay, yeah.
Not like us.
I wonder if we will hear any of that
Absolutely.
at halftime. You're saying yes. Meanwhile,
we're going to hear that every week for 5 weeks.
Dawson Odom's electing to go for the 35-yard field goal. Brandon Wilcox and the bobble snap. This was an issue that we heard about in pregame. As Q, you've got more on that.
Watching this group all through warm-ups, they had an issue with low snaps. In fact, the last extra point they kicked in warm-ups was a bobbled snap. We talked about it during the commercial break, but this one was rolled back to the holder, and so they don't go for it on 3rd and 2, the holder, and the first really break that goes in the way of Florida A&M.
A little bit ago, let's go 1993, that national championship season for Florida State. He won it as a freshman, and then the choke at Doak play against in-state rival, and who comes up with it? James Colsey the third. He played for Bobby Bowden and Mickey Andrews on that defense, and then was also an excellent baseball player as well from 93 to 97. So imagine you go to college and you're playing with Charlie Ward and Derek Brooks. And check out what happened today. Just a reminder, folks, if y'all were watching how we kicked off the season, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets sting them. It's high. It's flying high in the city of Atlanta right now as they upset the 10th-ranked Florida State Seminoles on a field goal as time expired. And the Norfolk State Spartans do some of the same as complete to the outside. Jamari Gassett had absolutely nowhere to go.
Could you imagine, don't want to do this, but could you imagine if, I couldn't tell you the last time Florida State and Florida A&M lost in the same day in a long time. Not saying it's going to happen, but if so, Tallahassee's going to be on silent mode.
Yeah, because there was plenty to celebrate last season, right? Both champions of their conference and riding high. That was the 7th time that both Florida State and Florida A&M had won their conference championship. Of course, you know, Florida State left out of the college football playoff. Florida A&M going on to become the HBCU national champions on 3rd and 10. And Daniel Richardson just trips over his own feet because he had a little space to vie for that first down marker. Instead, Ricky Harrelson stops them, and that'll bring up 4th down.
And that was a great adjustment by the defensive coordinator, Steve Adams. That was the same play they scored the touchdown with earlier. When they had Franklin in the backfield, shift to one side of the formation, then get the matchup one-on-one on the outside, it wasn't there. They knew where he was going with the football. Good decision by Richardson not to force the throw. He comes up just a little bit short for the 1st down.
So Trey Wilhoit, first team all-conference punter, local Tallahassee product. He's done a great job in his time with the Rattlers. And Parnham goes backwards as he receives it, as we send it down to Q, who's standing by with a special guest.
And you're here. What brings you out?
I'm here, man, to give some love, man. This has been, the energy here for this game has been crazy, man. I'm still trying to figure out what side I'm landing on. I'm leaning towards, damn you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, their band is pretty good, man. These bands are ridiculous.
Yeah, I love it, man. This is a real, I don't know, I think me being here is doing a lot for my confidence, man. Just feeling this energy, man. The culture is just beautiful.
We were just chatting about a movie you got coming out, Labor Day weekend, 1992, Ray Liotta, kind of a heist movie. Tell the fans about it.
Yeah, well, the first thing I want to do is apologize, because recently I said to all of the 35-year-olds, don't be too late ordering your tickets and end up sitting on the front row, because all the young people know how to order tickets online. But the movie is called 1992. It's a heist film. Ray Liotta's his last film, rest in peace. And I was just trying to give the 35-year-olds some advice, like, man, don't be ordering your tickets at the last minute, be sitting on the front row with your girl. But go and get the tickets now. Order your tickets online. It's a Labor Day weekend. It's going to be crazy. Ray Liotta, Scott Eastwood. The film is called 1992. It's also produced by Snoop Dogg. Make sure y'all look at the trailer online. I promise you, probably the most important film I've done in the last 25 years.
Great to see you here. We'll hope you make a decision whether you're going to stay on the Spartan sideline or you're going to head across to the Rattlers maybe for the second half.
I'm just worried about the 35-year-olds out there trying to get tickets at the last minute. Don't be sitting on the front row on date night with your girl. Go now. Get your tickets now.
All right, Jody.
All right.
Q, tell him I said, all right, Jody. Like Snoop called him. All right, Jody from Baby Boy.
Thank you very much. I'm thinking 1992, the movie that he's talking about. A couple of years later, 1994, he was singing do-do-do-do-do always. Oh, on the bus. Lights flickering. About 2-minute warning. We step aside here. Come back with more. Back here, Jay Walker, Quick Kesnick, Tiffany Green. Reese in the midst of the Spartan Legion band as they're preparing to perform. Ready for what will be an amazing halftime. I can't wait. Edge of the Seat. Remember, you can see the entire performance for both bands over on ESPN Plus. And something new to college football this season, the 2-minute timeout, very similar or a la the 2-minute warning that you're used to seeing in the NFL. Man in motion, 2nd and 10. Jalen Daniels hands it off to Vaughn King, and King with a pickup of 3. Correction, that's Evans instead. A little pushing and shoving going on as well. It brings up 3rd down. Florida A&M looking to take a timeout here. The 2nd of the half.
Please reset the game clock to 1-5.
And Jay, while we have the opportunity, I think it's time to give viewers a little something called Jay's Gimme 5.
All right, we're early in the season, so how about this? How about the top 5 storylines going to the HBCU season there? Oh, got the updated photo. Like that one there. But Coaches Portal. You talk about the Players Portal. What about the Coaches Portal? 6 new coaches between the MEAC and the SWAC. Number 4 is the biggest question. What QB will emerge? You need to have a quarterback that's going to dominate, take over. Number 3, I'm going to go back to 3 schools we haven't talked about in a little bit. Well, that should be Hampton, not Howard. What's up with A&T, Hampton, and Tennessee State University? We got to check on them. And 2, is this the year of the Hornet? Alabama State, big expectations. And number 1, we're trying to see right now. FAMU thinks they own Atlanta. Does FAMU equal Atlanta? Can they repeat this year and try and do something no other team has done before? Win this game, the MEAC SWAC Challenge, and win an HBCU national championship.
Well, Florida A&M making their third appearance in this game. It's the first for Norfolk State. Now, Jay, you know I'm going to have to chime in with my 2 cents after this 3rd and 8 coming up, as they're resetting the game clock on the field.
5-3.
That's what gets me. I'm nitpicking a little bit, but I mean, you know, teams are playing hard. It takes you 20 seconds to take off 2 seconds off the game clock. And I don't think anybody was looking at those 2 seconds, to be honest. Big 3rd down here. If Norfolk State converts, they'll step on the gas pedal. If not, Florida A&M will probably call another timeout and try and force the Spartans to punt.
Keep it on the ground and running into the teeth of the defense. The timeout is coming as Jaron Fox, the first to the ball carrier.
Timeout.
Halsey
Florida A&M
spending his 3rd and
charge
final timeout
This is a 30-second
of the half.
timeout.
So that allows me to step in and
Okay,
give
like you set up
tips,
mine.
2 cents.
You know, what
there
do
you
you
go.
have? What are your tips,
okay,
2
my
cents?
question out of the Southwestern Athletic
reset the
Conference
game.
is who's going to win the West? It is up for grabs. We saw Prairie View A&M do it, but of course, Grambling is always in the mix, and Southern's in the mix. Alcorn State, high expectations as they are projected #1 in the preseason poll out of the West. And then #2, who runs the MEAC?
Well, I think the
3
defending
years,
champions
we have seen
should run the MEAC.
3 different teams win the MEAC. Last year it was Howard. They tied with North Carolina Central the year before, and then Buddy Pugh's crew at the time won it in 2021. So the question is it going to be either any of those 3 teams, or could we see a Norfolk State or Morgan State be a dark horse?
See, that's why you and I get into it all the time.
Why?
My top 5, my give me 5. The #1 story was, does FAMU own Atlanta? FAMU equals Atlanta. Yours, who runs the MEAC? Well, the team that won the conference normally runs the conference. Howard University.
Not according to the voters in the preseason poll, as they were selected #2 behind North Carolina Central, much like Florida A&M was in the SWAC East. Alabama State
I
got
know
the
you want to
preseason
put
9.
the period on the sentence, but the fact remains, I put FAMU as the #1 storyline. I put them there, even though the conference voted. The conference voted for Alabama State to do it, but I put FAMU 1. That's why, folks. That's what I deal with. Go on, Chip. Let's do your job.
We're talking big picture. We're setting up the storylines for the season, and lots can happen within the MEAC and the SWAC this year, as we will see so much change in the reconstruction of college football conferences, the Power 4 now, and certainly owning that top 10 in FBS football, the new look SEC, and of course the Big Ten as well. Pass complete there to Jalen Rogers, a pickup of 4, and the Rattlers will try to run quick offense here to get on the board.
And start to build the legend of Daniel Richardson right now. 2-minute offense situation. You're down by 4. Your team's been trailing all game. Well, these are going to get an opportunity to make some throws. You have to throw the ball. Let's see what Daniel Richardson is made of right now.
And remember, folks, no timeouts for the Rattlers, so a wise pass and catch and step out of bounds by Jamari Gassett, as he's right at the first down marker. And it's going to move the chains, or just short of it. All right, they're moving it now, as this season All-State will celebrate every field goal and extra point made by participating universities by making a donation to the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you, All-State.
And I think what you're seeing right now is one of the biggest changes in college football. 2-minute offense situation. My coordinator can talk to me all the way up until I snap the ball, 15 seconds pretty much on the clock. When the clock is stopped, you can really dial up a good play.
Another completion, but it comes out the fumble on the field, and Jamari Gassett had it, but it was dislodged by the Spartans tackler. We'll see who comes up with it, as they're trying to clear the pile, and Florida A&M recovers it. Big number 69, TJ Lee.
On the play, crossing route there. Big hit, dislodged the football there by Dalen Long. Florida A&M fortunate to recover and try and keep this drive alive.
James Colsey III trying to see what his group can do within this final minute. I think that was Tariq Miles who may have shook that one loose.
So that one there now, what do you do? How aggressive are you now on third down, third and long? You don't want to give Norfolk State the ball back.
Looking and bounces it as Richardson takes a shot. Kelvin Dean, who was coming out of the backfield, passing incomplete. It's 4th and 8.
Got to punt it away. And this time of year, special teams is always, oh boy, this is going to be interesting.
Okay, you gotta put on a little show, a little something.
Like he's doing the upright, like old school break dance.
I thought he was going to actually try to kick it.
I don't think you want to use those shoes.
Will Hoyt back to punt it away. He's just going to let this one bounce. It's down by the Rattlers around the 16-yard line. Okay, the question was Tyrese going to actually kick it? And he did. Now, a little low.
No trajectory at all.
Your assessment? Okay. No.
That's an old school special teams HBCU kick. When we used to have kickers used to kick the center in the back of the head, stuff like that. Special teams has come a long way in HBCU world. Tyrese got to work on his game. You got to get that ball up in the air.
Right. So you don't think he'll be auditioning for any football roles anytime soon? Not as a kicker.
Hey, what do they say? Stick to your day job. And fortunately for him, he's got 2 of them, singer and actor. So talented guy, kicking not one of them.
This debut for Jalen Daniels in Norfolk State this season. Dawson Odoms electing to not go for it on 4th and 2. Had the opportunity to be up by a score. Instead, a special teams mishap. And it's 14-10 at the half. But an impressive start to the year from Norfolk State. They put their foot on the gas quickly. 191 yards on the ground. And this group out of the MEAC is ready to make some noise. Meanwhile, Florida A&M, the 25th ranked team in all of FCS, came back in this one after 14 unanswered. And yeah, folks, you already know what's about to pop off. The bands are set to take the field. The marching one.
What's their nickname?
Oh, nickname? That's their section name. It's Hot Ice.
Hot Ice. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. You look good today, sir.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely great. I just love that enthusiasm and excitement. Hot Ice. And, you know, we have heard some really interesting names within bands. Jay, I know you've ranked them in your Gimme Fives previously. What do you think? Where do you think Hot Ice,
Hot Ice is up there, somewhere in that range. But, Dancing Dolls, the most famous of them all right there. I like a little ooh-la-la action there. I like J-Sets. I like Ebony Fire. And that's part of the uniqueness. Your dancing troupe has to have a unique name. You just can't come out there and say, the Dancers. You have to have something there like Ebony Fire, the Golden Boxes. So that's part of it all right there. And Hot Ice was good.
Okay, let me test your knowledge on just current songs that are out there. Both bands played Get It Sexy. Do you know who sings that song? Whose song that is?
Get It Sexy? Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's what you're for. You help me out. Who's sexy?
Sexy Red.
Oh, with the red.
Yeah,
So, okay.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
boom.
That's what it is.
It fits.
Okay.
It works. Fun times already as back to game action. And Daniel Richardson picks up the first down wisely. Slides down as we check out the first half stats brought to you by Cricket. And the debuts for both of these quarterbacks in new programs. Richardson, who caught fire late in that first half, 106 yards through the air and a touchdown. Meanwhile, 3 of 4 and 33 yards for Jalen Daniels. And Richardson, who you said had an opportunity to cement his legacy, replacing Jeremy Musa. Great throw there, and the completion to Jalen Ward. So back-to-back first downs here coming out of the locker room for Florida A&M. And if you're just tuning in, folks, it was Norfolk State that got off to a roaring start, had so much success on the ground. They scored the first 2 touchdowns, but Florida A&M closed out the half with 10 unanswered points. And after a slow start for Daniel Richardson, he started to get into a rhythm, Jay.
And it was a little bit surprising because we thought they wanted him to go out here and win the game. He was a manager, and then he showed that he can win the game. And you look at Norfolk State, we thought that they really needed Jalen Daniels to step up and make all types of throws, but the running game was so effective. But I do like the decisions that Richardson has made. He got away from a couple throws earlier where it could have been interceptions, but after that, he stepped it up and showed, oh, this is why I won the starting quarterback job for Florida A&M, and showed that he can deliver the ball all over the field.
Well, he is leading the 25th ranked team in FCS to start the season, and on the run, he's got a man, and into the hands of Jamari Gasson for the score. 55 yards out. Teron Mallory was on the coverage, but able to get behind the cornerback. And Jamari Gasson scores his first touchdown of the season.
Yeah, just look at this double move right here. And Mallory peeks at the receiver's hips. Good job by Gasson, giving him a little dead leg, stutter go. That much separation, easy throw, big play for Florida A&M. And Jamari Gasson, that dynamic workhorse wide receiver that the coaches described.
The kick is up, and it's good. 17 unanswered points for Florida A&M, and they take their first lead of the game. We were talking about get it sexy. How about get it Jamari doing his thing in the A. Famu on top.
Pay what I bought it. New crib site.
An Alabama State team under Eddie Robinson Jr. who's poised to try to make a run this year. You mentioned that in your Gimme 5. And you talk about great defenses. Yes, Florida A&M one of them, but the Hornets also had an outstanding defense in FCS as well last season.
If you're a team coached by a defensive legend in the conference and Eddie Robinson, you know right away that they're going to play defense, and that's what they do. And we're going to see this year if Alabama State has a defense that's good enough to win a championship. They were the preseason favorites to win the SWAC East.
I know we had this conversation, and I pulled it up in the 2 cents about who will win the West. You mentioned Terrence Graves, the new head coach at Southern. You've got Mickey Joseph over at Grambling State, Chris Dishman over at Texas Southern, and Cedric Thomas at Alcorn State. Bubba McDowell, though, returns as the SWAC West champion. Who's going to create some noise on that side?
Everybody says Alcorn, but I still think that Prairie View team's underrated. I mean, you bring a defense to town every year and out. Bubba McDowell's a defensive player in the NFL, coaches at Prairie View A&M. You got to knock off the Panthers before I say you're going to win it. Now, there's some teams with potential, but just like everybody else, they've got some key pieces to replace. And it comes down to, I think, whoever finds a quarterback in the MEAC or the SWAC, whichever team can have an elite quarterback, that's a team that's going to make a deep run.
Here on 1st and 10, and the big pass here from Jalen Daniels, and great body control from the wide receiver, Cameron Thomas, the JUCO transfer with his first reception, and an acrobatic catch for 50 yards and into Rattler territory. See the adjustment he had to make there?
Yeah, really good job, and an even really good throw, and a really better job of the catch there by Thomas there. As Jamil Sanders, number 8 for Florida A&M, got turned around from his safety position there, and Norfolk State responds with a huge play on offense.
Again, talking to the offensive coordinator, wanting big, explosive plays. They've gotten it on the ground, and they're through the air as well. Back-to-back completions for Daniels, this time to Jock Jones.
Is it time that they unleash Jalen Daniels as their quarterback? I mean, you got to trust him now. You find yourself down by 3 points, and he's come up with 2 big throws. Really do like this wide receiver core, Jacquez Jones, and we saw Thomas with the ability to get by as well. Both of them on the bottom half portion of your screen. I'd look to go back there if you get single coverage.
We love the decision-making of Jalen Daniels, and the RPO, he tucks it and runs, lunges out, and picks up about 3 or 4 yards on the carry. We told you earlier about his story. Former 3-star coming out of high school from Mesa, Arizona, then walked on to South Carolina. Never played a snap there, but then had some success in JUCO, and then made his way here to Norfolk State. And coaches have raved about him. Dawson Odom said this is a special talent that we have here in Jalen Daniels. Now 2nd and 6. Ball on the Rattler, 11-yard line. And bad connection there between Daniels and Thomas, and that exchange was fortunate enough to be recovered as Daniels fell on top.
You have to put that on the quarterback. Quarterback, running back exchange. Quarterback, if you're going to pull the ball, pull it. He decides to pull it late with a guy running full speed. Put that on the quarterback. Good job of at least recovering the ball.
Okay, so now you're in the red zone, 3rd and 9, and what do you dial up here if you're the OC?
You throw the ball, you want to try, you always have the threat of getting to the end zone. But if you can get this to, 4th and 1, then you can make a decision time, but you can't afford an interception or a sack.
Daniels looking to his left, then goes to his right, scrambles outside the pocket, avoids one tackler, still on his feet, and then brought down. Still well short
field goal
of the first down marker, and the field goal unit will trot onto the field. So an opportunity to tie this ball game up. Remember the last time the Spartans went forward in similar position, a bad snap, and led to a special teams miscue. This time a 29-yard attempt for Wilcox. This time, snap good, hold good, and field goal is good. Tie ball game at 17 apiece. Timeout. Well, Jalen Daniels, who's been tapped out of the SWAC, and Norfolk State representing the MEAC. Back here in Atlanta, GA. Jay Walker, Tiffany Green, and what a day it's been, brother. You clean, of course.
That time of year, football season, we get clean, and you look fantastic like always.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Man, did you expect to see what we saw in Ireland? The number 10 team in all of FBS upset at the last second by Georgia Tech?
I don't think that'll be the last we'll see, because with the transfer portal coming, the key in college football used to be get as old as you can, as quickly as you can. But now you bring in all these new pieces. If you've got a team that can stay together and gel together, you can pick off some of these teams that bring in all of these transfers.
Well, Brent Keys certainly has a lot to be excited about, along with the Yellow Jackets faithful as well. And just when you do a broad brush of college football and you look at the top 25, we talked about the expanded SEC, and of course Texas and Oklahoma joining the fold, a number of teams making debuts and new entrances into conferences. Jay, as a college football fan and as a former player, where do you see the state of college football?
The key thing is 12. They got 12 teams that are going to make it to the playoff. And, I don't think you take out some of the argument on, before Florida State was a team like last year, they were number 5 on the outside looking in. They could have been in there. Well, now they'll be in there with an opportunity to possibly host. And I think if there's 12 teams, you're not really who got left out at number 13 or 14 because you're not one of the best teams in the country. So I think the College Football Playoff Committee did a good job getting it right with the expansion.
Q, what's your thoughts, my man?
I think the first couple weeks of the season are going to be chaotic and unpredictable because of the massive player mobility and the way rosters have greatly changed. I mean, we're seeing it today with the Rattlers roster, and you're going to see that across the entire landscape. Okay, you factor in also we got realignment, we got teams in new conferences, new matchups. There's a lot to digest. The 12-team playoff, realignment, and player mobility. It's going to create kind of a crazy September, I believe.
Hey, Q, what'd you think about my Gimme 5? And I said, what about the coaches portal? I mean, this is going to be the first time in a while, like in the HBCU ranks, you don't have a Buddy Pugh. In the FBS ranks, you don't have a Nick Saban. I mean, these are dynamic figures, and coaches are moving all over the place.
You know, it's a good point. It's a good point. And a staff's ability right now, like we're going to see, I'm heading out to Colorado to see Coach Prime on Thursday, and to see what he's done now and doing in year 2. How quickly programs can be built or go in the wrong direction. I think it's fascinating now with the portal and with NIL.
And also, a name you could throw out there, Jim Harbaugh, no longer at Michigan. The reigning champs of last year. Ron Moore leads the way as Daniel Richardson continuing to lead on the field for Florida A&M as the pass complete to Kobe Gross. And as there's an injured player on the field for the Spartans, opportunity for us to talk about, you know, some of the impact and effect that Coach Prime has had on college football, as Ricky Harrelson, one of the veteran guys in that secondary, looked like he's cramping up. Well, Coach Prime, 3-0 in his first games, a bit of a skid in those last 9. What will he do with Shador at center, under center once more? Well, we'll get that answer next Thursday.
Here's the deal. In this election year, people need a place to explore national issues that have an impact on their community. To understand those issues better, we're bringing together our team of...
Talked about the excitement around the college football playoff expansion going from 4 to 12 teams. Well, how is the field determined? The 5 highest ranked conference champions, plus you add the next 7 highest ranked teams. And of course, when you look at those teams, those conference champions, they're seeded 1 through 4, receiving first round buys. Going to be critical. Jay, we're in position to see potentially one of the greatest years of college football with this new college football playoff expansion.
Let's go back. Let's make it relate to what we've seen here in the HBC level. You remember when the SWAC decided to move their championship game from a neutral site in Texas to the team with the best record would host?
Yes.
Well, that's what you're going to see in the college football playoff. And that game that year at Alcorn was the most electric environment we've seen in college football in a long time. So can you imagine any of these big-name programs, SC, Texas, any place, Ohio State, Michigan, getting to host a game? A school like Penn State comes in at number 7, and they get to host. You think that's not going to be a real whiteout up there? I mean, it could be some memorable scenes for the upcoming future of college football.
On 2nd and 7, and the pass complete and the first down picked up by Thaddeus Franklin Jr. Tackle made by Devon Allen, and another Spartan body down on the field. This time it's Dalen Long. Well, we got an opportunity to tell you, hey, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2, we'll have the Little League Baseball World Series 3rd place game between Texas and Venezuela. Then at 3 Eastern on, right here on ABC, it all comes down to this for the boys of summer. The championship game, folks. The kids from Chinese Taipei take on the team from Florida. Both games are available on the ESPN Plus, and in English and Spanish.
You know, I always get a little jealous of that like, on my bucket list was to play in Williamsport.
Yeah.
Just to make it. I think if you ever picked up a baseball once and just, you dreamed it. And that's one that I didn't even come close to it. But that was one that was on the bucket list for those little kids, and good luck to those. Far away, but my team wasn't eligible to compete for that one. I was in the wrong league to even make it. Isn't that something from my mom and dad? we'll let that go. Let's talk about Florida A&M, too.
Well, James Colsey, who played baseball in college, now the head coach of Florida A&M in his first game leading the Rattlers. His school located in Tallahassee, Florida, the capital city. And you think baseball, how about the MLB Hall of Famer Andre Dawson The Hawk is a graduate of Florida A&M University, the #1 public HBCU enrollment above 10,000. And yes, a lot of change and transition there with an interim president, Timothy Beard, along with...
How about Vince Coleman also played baseball at Florida A&M as well. So, no, I keep up with them Rattlers.
Yeah, you do. You were a baseball guy as well as a football guy. Norfolk State, well, located in Norfolk, Virginia. We mentioned at the top of the broadcast, the only HBCU founded in 1935 during the Great Depression. And J.B. Smooth, Tim Reed, among some of the entertainers to come from the Spartans. Of course, the legendary coach there, William Dick Price, where the stadium is named after.
Yeah, Bobby Dandridge. The hoopster, Bobby Dandridge, Pee Wee Kirkland, and guess who is at this game today? The most recent basketball legend.
Kyle O'Quinn. We got the opportunity to see him yesterday.
Yes, so I'm walking around as well today, so he's here to support his beloved Spartan.
Franklin on the carry. Let's go back to O'Quinn because he helped Norfolk State make that great run during the NCAA tournament, one of those first-round upsets.
I want to say, you talk about basketball. I mean, the MEAC as a whole, they've had 3 teams that were number 15 seeds and won that 2-15 matchup.
It was 2012 where Norfolk State beat Mizzou. You saw Howard playing in the NCAA tournament in the last couple of years. Daniel Richardson's got a man, heaves it up into the hands, and it's incomplete. Goes right out of Acion Cobb. Ace Cobb, first time he was targeted tonight. Prior to that, Richardson was 5 for 5 for 97 yards and a touchdown in this half. His first incompletion coming out of his locker room.
Second time tonight, we've seen Mallory, number 4, the cornerback for Norfolk, let an orange helmet get behind him. Can't make a living playing cornerback if guys are running behind you. I'm starting to think he's peeking in the backfield a little bit too much, and Daniel Richardson is starting to pick on him.
That was an open layup. Use a basketball turn. You got to make that catch right there. Richardson quickly out to Ward, and Ward with some moves, first down. And keep on marching down the field after that 11-yard catch and run.
Yeah, nice play selection by Joe Henry there, anticipating some pressure. If the pressure doesn't get to you right away, you have to make this open field tackle. They're trying to blitz him. If you miss this tackle here, first down. Missed tackle by the guy on the island, picks up the first down. Florida A&M trying to strike.
Well, let's give credit to offensive coordinator Joe Henry, who's starting to figure things out. He was the run game guy under Willie Simmons on the previous staff. He said conceptually we're going to be similar. We want to keep some continuity. You see them going through the air more, but the pressure able to avoid and get the ball out still as Thaddeus Franklin and that, or rather Levante Somerset was the receiver. But what a way to maneuver away from the pressure. Richardson kept his eyes up and avoided Alvin Williams.
Yeah, could have been a sack, could have been a fumble. Great pocket awareness by Daniel Richardson just to make a play. Under duress from the pocket. Florida A&M continuing to move the ball down the field.
And there's a look at Joe Henry. Joe Henry, who believes this group is uber talented. And a flag on the play. We'll see if this one comes back.
Offside. Defense. Number 21. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Instead it goes against the Spartans, and for more on Joe Henry, let's send it down to Q.
His first game as a play caller. He's a former tight end at Arkansas. He reported as a freshman at 195 pounds. Kept eating and eating and eating his way up to 265 pounds. A walk-on. Ended up GAing there for Bobby Petrino, and he says he gets his play calling from Coach Petrino and from last year's head coach, Willie Simmons.
Well, yeah, he had been with Willie Simmons between Florida A&M and Prairie View A&M, but when he was around with Kendall Briles, Bobby Petrino and company, as Richardson once more avoiding pressure, has a man in the back of the end zone, and Jamari Gassett has it. A&M back on top. Touchdown, Rattlers. Well, you gotta like the escapability, the way that Richardson was able to extend the play, kept his eyes in the end zone, and connects with Jamari Gassett.
And the discipline on display by the offensive line. Normally when a quarterback almost gets sacked and then takes off to run, they normally run upfield. And you see the penalty variety of illegal linemen downfield. No flags on the play. Great play by Daniel Richardson to capitalize. That's that game management they talked about to give Florida A&M the lead again.
Cameron Gillis back on top. And adding, making it 24-17, Florida A&M.
Making something out of nothing when it wasn't there. That's how you play the quarterback position. But take a look where the line of scrimmage is. It's about the 9-yard line. Look at the white jerseys. Do they stay right now? They're blocking. That's a wall. Oh, I don't know about there. There's a guy standing on that 3-yard line right in the middle there because they were thinking scramble.
Well, thankfully, we have our rules expert, Bill Lamagnier, on the broadcast with us. And Bill, what did you see there?
It appeared that we had an ineligible receiver downfield. Those are, one of the tough things statistically is we're wrong on that call almost as many times as we miss it. So it's when the ball's released, but that man was downfield too far.
Yeah, and that's something the key. Like one of the keys I saw, normally when a quarterback almost gets sacked and he takes off to run, it's a natural instinct for a lineman to get upfield. So I was giving them credit because they didn't do it. But when we see it again, they might have got away with one. Would you agree, Bill?
I would. I'd agree. They got away with one.
Jamari Gassett, 6 times they've targeted him. 6 receptions for the senior out of Tampa. He's at the century mark, and a couple of scores for the workhorse and that wide receiver core for the Rattlers.
Now, I love the fact that Bill was there with us, because if I would have said that, they would have said I was picking on Florida A&M. Right? You agree with me, partner?
Yeah.
They would have, but
yeah,
it's the rules.
Sometimes you can't win, partner. Sometimes you set yourself up, and sometimes you really can't win. When you think about Daniel Richardson and that connection with Jamari Gassett, we'll talk more in just a second. But first, here's our Sunday night baseball matchup, the series finale of the 4-game set between the Astros and the Orioles. 7 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. ESPN2 will have a special StatCast edition. Our coverage begins at 6 Eastern with baseball tonight and Sunday night countdown. But going back to Daniel Richardson, the fact that he started the first half, he started slow, I think 1 of 4, and then caught fire and really has started to settle in as QB1, first time under the helm for the Rattlers. And up the middle on the run. Now you compare that with the debut of Jalen Daniels, who started 3 for 4 in the first half. But he's completed the last couple of throws for 60 yards. And now playing from a score behind, will they rely on the arm more of Daniels?
They shouldn't. I mean, they asked him to manage the game in the first half. Let the line of scrimmage, who is the strength of this team, control the line of scrimmage. And just number count. If Florida A&M brings an extra guy into the box, then maybe he can check you out. But I think they need to get back to running the football effectively like they did in the first half.
Rolling, looking downfield, and he's brought down. Swarmed by the Rattler defense up front.
Those are the 2 that they've been waiting for. Westmoreland and Cameron Donald. They said those guys had to have an impact. Take a look at number 90 and number 17. Great job of forcing them inside, and they clean it all up. If those guys can make plays, that's the Florida A&M way. The defensive line creating pressure.
First sack of the night for the Rattlers. The QB comparison between the 2. Richardson has got it done through the air. Jalen Daniels has relied heavily on the running game, which had great success in the first half. And the ball brought down again. A flag comes out as well. Eric Horn celebrating for the moment, but let's listen in to Derek Hatton to find out what happened on that play.
It's a big penalty right here. I mean, Norfolk State really needs this to be against Florida A&M, and if Florida A&M would love for this to be against Norfolk State so they can continue to grab momentum of this game. Got to call it.
Still deliberating. We get the call.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 3.
First down.
That penalty's declined. Personal foul, hands to the face. Defense, number 0. That penalty accepted, 15 yards, automatic first down.
Well, fortunate for the Spartans as 2 penalties against Florida A&M, and the Spartans take the greater one, a 15-yard penalty for hands to the face. And let's take another look at it here.
Right there on the center. You see that battle between Ash and Wheatley. They've been going at it, and that's the hands to the face. That's the bigger penalty. The holding would have been an automatic first down as well. But one of the things we showed a graphic on, penalties a season ago for Florida A&M. They've got to do a better job of not hurting themselves.
Play action down the field. Kendall Bowler is there running step for step with Cameron Thomas. Remember, he led the nation in PBUs last year with 14. And it's going to bring up 2nd and 10. Well, one of the things that Dawson Odoms talked to us about earlier this week was the fact that this is a good team who's on the verge of potentially being great. And certainly, this group had a great start to this ball game. They put up 14 unanswered points. And he said he reminded his team this week to not let the lights and the stage and the anxiety of this moment get to them. Instead, focus on what you've been working for leading up to this point. King on the carry, gain of 6. And we talked about Kendall Bowler, preseason All-American for Florida A&M. We saw him on the coverage a couple of plays ago. Fast, physical, and according to our Jordan Reed, one of those top 10 prospects for HBCUs on potential NFL draft boards.
He can play. He's a real deal. He has to make sure he doesn't get bored out there on the island. He's got tremendous speed, size, and experience. And what I'd say is if Kenny Gallup is the 5th best player NFL prospect, those got to be some real good players ahead of him, because we know Kenny Gallup is a baller and NFL scouts are there all day. But you're starting to see Florida A&M attack the pocket. 4-man rush, bringing 1 linebacker. So they're only bringing 5, but they're able to get to the quarterback. That last play was Nayron Jenkins coming up from his striker position. And I just think Norfolk State got away from the run. They got away from the run. The way they were running the ball so well in the first half, Florida A&M should be tired on defense. But they've done a favor by passing the ball.
Great special teams coverage there as Florida A&M will start this drive at the 20-yard line. So how do you rally back? Do you lean on your guys in the secondary who, among the strength of the team for the Spartans on defense, or do you say, hey, look, 2-time captain Sage Bucaret-Irvine, I need you to make some noise at your defensive end position. Keyshawn Lynch, we called his name earlier, did much of that. Who's going to bring that pressure? A.J. Richardson, we haven't called his name a bunch.
They need A.J. to make a play. That's what your star players do, guys like that. But more importantly, you go back to remember what Coach Odom said the key was going to be: stay together. They have to stay together. And right now, the defense needs to help out and make a stop, because this offense is slowed down a lot. And the defense just makes a stop, so Florida A&M cannot increase this lead.
Pass complete, and final play of the 3rd quarter to Jamari Gassett. Florida A&M, who took the lead here in this 3rd quarter, 24-17. 4th quarter is coming up here from Atlanta. Back to the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff, a one-score ball game here in Atlanta. Quick Kesnick down the field with FAMU head coach James Colsey III.
Coach, you spent some time with the officials. What are you talking about?
Well, we had that third down call. We had the 2 penalties. I was just wondering if we were covering them too well. They said that we were holding and we had a hands to the face call. So, it is what it is. We're not gonna argue with the officials. We're just gonna play.
How would you best describe the play of your quarterback, Daniel Richardson?
He did a really, really good job. Men's in the game. That last touchdown was a broken play. It was him just making a play. So I'm glad he's on our team.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks so much. And we heard him in the locker room giving his speech before his first game coach as a Florida A&M Rattler head man. And what we heard from both James Colsey III and Dawson Odoms, the importance of this fourth quarter, Jay.
Absolutely. And for Colsey III, his message was, hey, we don't know what's going to happen out there. Be prepared to dominate and win in this fourth quarter. And for Dawson Odoms, Norfolk State, hey, we've been in a number of one-score games the season ago. We lost all those. If we're in that same position tonight, let's figure out a way to win it. And each scenario can still happen.
Well, Richardson, who has found the touch after a slow start. Jalen Rogers with a 14-yard reception. And this is exactly what Coach Colsey III said in the locker room before the game.
On to the next play. All right. And no matter what, we must dominate the fourth quarter so we can win this goddamn football game. Yes, sir. I'm proud of y'all. Let's touch each other. Here you go. Touch it.
I'm proud of y'all. He gave me a little Bernie Mac feeling there. I'm proud of y'all. Well, right now, he's got to be proud of this Florida A&M football team and his new quarterback, Daniel Richardson, wisely throwing it away with nowhere to go on first down, because there are a lot of pieces that were unknowns, personnel coming in, new shifting, new coaches, including the head man, along with a number of new players. And he's got to be proud of the way that this group has responded after being down 14-0 in that first quarter.
That's the pulse of a new coach, or a good coach, I always say, that's going to become a really good coach, is knowing the fabric of your team. The good coaches know, all right, we're going to take a punch from them, and we got to battle back and forth, but we're going to find a way to win. And you know how to challenge your team. Nice throw.
Out of the backfield, and there's some laundry on the field in the process of that. Quan Lee, first time we've mentioned his name, but this one back at the 30-yard line, behind the line of scrimmage. Let's hear it.
Holding, offense, number 62, 10-yard penalty, remains second down.
Well, that negates a 23-yard play for James Colsey III. And, he talked to his team about the cost of winning. He says, we have been through a lot from January to now. After winning that Cricket Celebration Bowl back in December, then head coach Willie Simmons departs, and so does the offensive and defensive player of the year, and Jeremy Musa and Isaiah Major due to graduation. And then you add all those new pieces, a lot of transition for this Florida A&M football team.
And you have to say, when you lost Willie Simmons, it's a great effort by Carter. One of those plug-and-play transfers, tight end, Carter Johnson, the tight end. But Willie Simmons was a play caller. He built this program. He's a local boy from around that area there, quarterback coach, brought all those things to the table. And everything FAMU during that era was Willie Simmons. And a tremendous impact. And I think his coaches said it best, the ones that are now stepping up, they learned a lot from Willie. And they want to keep it going and add their own little wrinkle to it. Right now, Florida A&M's off to a pretty good start.
Indeed, and busting through the middle of the field, that's Kelvin Dean. And Dean, one of those products that Colsey and Willie Simmons helped to bring back to Tallahassee. He started at FAU, originally played his high school ball at Rickards High School, and he has made his presence felt since returning to Florida's capital city.
I was going to say, when we talked to the offensive coordinator, Joe Henry, he said, well, I think the strength is our offensive line, so we have to run the ball a lot. Well, the offensive line got their act together. You know, they protected the quarterback, and then they started winning the battle at the line of scrimmage on run plays, and they've worn down this Norfolk State defense.
A fumble on the field, and it looked like Norfolk State recovered it. The ball carrier lost it, and Eric Ivory is excited coming to the sideline, as that is a huge turnover, first turnover for either team tonight.
Huge. I mean, this is a huge play. Look at the ball security and just getting the...
That was Levante Jacobs, the interior tackle up front for the Norfolk State Spartans. And so can the Spartans charge down the field and tie up this ball game? We'll find out when we come back.
At Georgia, fourth quarter. This Rattler defense that was struggling against the run in the first quarter, and James Colsey told me at halftime that they got out of the stunting business. They were shifting and stunting in that first quarter, and they were getting gashed on the ground. Said they've gone to a more base defensive front, and just playing more vanilla J up front with their defensive line.
And that's one of the things that can really make a difference, particularly when you know a team wants to run the football. So the last thing you want to do is get caught into a stunt. And once they eliminate that, things happen. So kind of to prove the point there is, if I'm going for like a quarterback sack and the quarterback is right there, I can do whatever I want to get there. I can go around him this way. I can leave the camera. But if I'm running the ball, you don't want to be caught going this way, because if you go sideways, take a step, Tim, I just swim you by. And you're a long ways out compared to if you come at me, I at least got to give you some resistance and try to turn you. So when you stunt, you take the risk of trying to get a big play. But if they hit you, they can hit you for some big yards in the running game.
Jay, I love that breakdown and analysis, and I'm glad to be used as a prop. You stunting like your daddy, huh?
And how about this? And how about this? Since the first quarter, that's when Norfolk State got off to a great job running the ball when they were averaging almost 9-10 yards a carry. They're averaging 1.7 yards, 1.5 yards per rushing play since that adjustment's been made. Great job to the coaching staff of Florida A&M of making the adjustment and minimizing the run game from Norfolk State.
High-level analysis from you, Jay Walker, and great work on the field, really, from Quint Kesnick of being able to be the eyes and ears and hearing what the coaches are doing and seeing what they're doing to make those adjustments.
Norfolk State, there's the first charge timeout.
There's a timeout here. Norfolk State spins their first. A big 3rd and 2 coming up when we come back.
Rated T for Teen.
These are dangerous times. The world here belongs to the syndicates. It's a big galaxy out there, and I'm gonna risk it all.
Star Wars Outlaws, available August 30th.
Pre-order Star Wars Outlaws for Xbox.
Every year, 7 million 911 calls are made in North Carolina.
911, what's your emergency?
Will you answer the call? Every second counts. You can be that lifeline. People in crisis look to us for assistance. We provide guidance and support until physical help can arrive at the scene. Join us and make a difference in our community. Be the calm in the chaos. Be the voice in the dark. It's the hardest career you'll ever love. Will you?
Back to that first quarter, breaking it off, 82 yards for the touchdown score, the longest play for Norfolk State this season. The Spartan Legion Band had a little feel there, and then coming right back was Daniel Richardson. We talked about the great night that he has had thus far and brought Florida A&M back into this ball game with 3 passing touchdowns.
That was an absolute thud by Eric Horn coming up. As you see, King coming back with a limp. And King's been the most effective runner for Norfolk State. But you see, after that last hit delivered by Horn, he's a guy they say he's a troublemaker.
Oh yeah, the big hitter. I mean, we saw him in the first quarter. He had 100 yards in 1 quarter alone. Career high tonight for him as Daniels finds Thomas, and Cameron Thomas just about a yard or 2 short of the first down marker. There was Eric Horn once again on the stop.
2 down territory. I'm thinking 2-down territory. You're running the ball twice. You're challenging the offensive line. You're giving them all the looks you want. 3 or 4 people in the route combination. If Florida A&M shows you any type of 4-2 combination, you're running the football.
Well, you guys talked about the adjustments that the Rattlers defense has made. Defensive coordinator Milton Patterson. Let's see what he comes up with here on 3rd and 2. Man in motion. And this one is whistled dead as a flag flies out on the field on the far side.
False start. Offense. Number 18. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Good time to tell you that the 56th U.S. Open begins Monday with 11.5 hours of coverage on ESPN, starting at noon Eastern with additional coverage on ESPN2 beginning at 7 Eastern. Every point is also available on ESPN+, and a costly penalty there for Norfolk State going backwards. So now instead of 3rd and 2, it sets up 3rd and 7 from the Florida A&M 44-yard line.
And with it being 3rd down, I still think if you pick up, you can positive play. If you pick up 5 yards, 5 to 6 yards, and you're a little bit short, I think you go for it in this situation. No sacks, and you need a positive play.
Daniels back, going for it all, one-on-one coverage on the outside, and the adjustment, what a play. We've seen that not once but twice from Cameron Thomas.
Hey, I accept your apology. If I'm Jalen Daniels, I accept your apology on the illegal procedure on the previous play. Great job of adjusting. Look at the ball skills. You get him matched up against Jamil Sanders, who's more of a safety than he is a cornerback.
That penalty is
a good job in space by Thomas to make a big play when his team absolutely needed it.
Well, that takes the ball all the way to the 3-yard line. And the Spartans within striking distance right here. I'm telling you, the way he is able to control his body and say, gotcha.
Needs to be careful, though. That could have easily been called a taunt. It could have been a great play, brought back, taunting the guy that's on the ground.
Cam Thomas tonight closing in on 100 yards receiving. Jalen Daniels, who's already picked up 1 on the ground. And let's go to our rules expert, Bill Lamagnier. Would you have called a penalty there or for a taunt?
I would have been there to talk to that young man and have a conversation about how he's going to hurt his team if he does that again. That wasn't just a first down point. He was pointing it right at that defender. So he needs to be careful with that one.
So it sounds like you would give him a warning shot a little bit, like if I catch you doing something again, okay, but real close, too close for the player to be doing that.
I'd get the message to the coach, too.
On 2nd and goal, King got in one time, and guess what? He's in again. Devon King, 2nd rushing touchdown of the night. They call him Squirm. He squirmed his way through the tackles and into the end zone.
Continuing his big night. He's been the runner with the best vision and the patience and the ability to finish off big runs as Norfolk State with an opportunity to tie this game. Oh, this is a good one, Tim.
Indeed,
Both
it is.
coaches wanted this. Like, Coach, don't tell me you want it if you really don't want it.
Oh, that one is blocked, and that's going to be huge right there. Instead of tying up the ball game, special teams coming through, getting a hand on it.
A lot of whistles. Are they? I see Kendall Bowler.
They're saying it's going to be offsides.
Defense, number 3. That penalty force after distance to the goal will retry.
So another life for Norfolk State. Florida A&M was trying to grab some momentum back. Let's look at it here again.
Oh, no. I didn't see it that time. On the one earlier, we saw him get a flying start. He wasn't even the guy that tipped it. It was an interior defensive lineman That tipped it. That's a real tight call there.
Bill, that was a close one.
Timeout. Norfolk State. That's second charge timeout at half. This is a 30-second timeout.
Bill, what did you see?
From the angles I have here, I'm only getting the shot from behind, so I can't see whether or not he was in the zone or not early.
Now, in that situation there, extra point, does it have to be clear cut that the defensive guy really took off? Because that was a late flag. So we're seeing here, I'm taking a look, and we can take a look. Bill, we got to commentate on it. What do you say, Bill?
I want to see that from looking straight down the line. You might have somebody who's lined up at the top or on the wide sides that are in the zone at the snap.
Okay. So there is a zone, so it's not necessarily illegal procedure like you're going early. He might have been lined up in the zone ahead of time.
Yes, right.
Yeah. I think that's when we need that clarity of. But I'm going to tell you how big this is. Now, if I'm Dawson Odom, I'm going for 2.
And
I need a yard and a half.
That's exactly what happened. Out of the timeout, going for 2. He was conservative early in this ball game, and now aggressive here to try to take the lead. Daniels shifting, and he's brought down. The big stop. Eric Horn in on the play again.
Timeout. Medium.
The dark cloud defense looming over the Spartans. That 2-point conversion unsuccessful. And the 25th ranked team in all of FCS holding tight to a 1-point lead. And a huge play from Eric Horn. Yes, sir.
Paying attention to detail and controlling your emotions. Take a look as they come out of the timeout. Number 8, Akeem Wright, the tight end, knows better. It's in a goal line situation in front of the student section. You should be focused, but no. He's firing up the crowd saying, come on, y'all, give me some noise. The crowd reacted to their player doing that. It became very unhearable. You see the quarterback trying to put his hands on his ears so he can hear the play. The offensive line couldn't hear it. The timing was completely off on that play, and Norfolk State finds themselves down by 1 instead of the opportunity. I thought they would have converted to be up by 1 in this game.
Did you like the play call, though, there to be aggressive and try to take the lead as opposed to trying to tie it up?
Yeah, yard and a half. You need yard and a half, 2 yards right there, the way you've got momentum. And then let's not forget, they missed an extra point when they tried. Right. So they got a free penalty and they got closer. Absolutely, they just didn't pay attention to detail and they let their emotions take over in that situation when you have to calm everything down.
Well, the way that Florida A&M has responded ever since being down 14-0, they came back to score 17 unanswered points. They took the lead into the locker room, or rather right after coming out of the locker room, and now holding tight to just 1-point lead. James Colsey III hoping that the Rattlers can finish out in this 6 minutes and 21 seconds as a delay of game is going to be called against Florida A&M.
There's no foul, delay of game. Timeout, Florida A&M University. There's a first charge timeout of the half. This is a 30-second timeout.
No correction there. So Florida A&M remaining with 2 timeouts. Well, one of the great things when you come to Atlanta, you have the opportunity to check out the sights and sounds and so much history here, but also when you think from a football sense, there's the Chick-fil-A College Football Hall of Fame in the same building that houses exhibits about the history of HBCU football, legends of the game, original memorabilia, and now is home to the Hall's new artificial intelligence experience. And Norfolk State head coach
familiar.
Dawson Odom tried his hand at it, and Obviously, it fits very well. Did you like kind of that simulation there? I mean, certainly the throwback look for tossing those. If you're ever in the A, you got to definitely check out that new attraction, which is so very cool at the College Football Hall of Fame. And he said he loved the experience.
We got a simulated game day atmosphere that you can get involved in there as well.
Yeah, he said he loved being on the college game day desk with Kirk Herbstreit and Desmond Howard. He got to sit there in the middle and get an opportunity to feel like was to do, something along the lines of our job.
Our job a little bit, yes. Did a good job with it. I've been to that hall before, and the wing they've got dedicated, for the history of the black college experience and their impact on the game is to be commended as well. Here come the play coming up right now, Tiff. Now, this is how much you trust your quarterback. See, I like these situations when it evolves. It's third down. You can either run it or you can throw it, right? What, 3rd and 3, roughly 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 yards? What do you?
Third downs in this one. Daniel Richardson has helped to deliver. And now, there he is. He's got his man as the pass is complete into Kobe Gross. So good enough to move the sticks.
Tribute to Willie Simmons. That was a Willie Simmons play. Gave you a lot of eye candy, empty backfield. We're going to empty it out. No, we're not. We're going to bring the tight end down, bring the running back in. So you think about the run across, and then all of a sudden you forgot about that tight end running a 5-yard out. That is Joe Henry's tribute to Willie Simmons.
Well, his stamp is all over this Rattler program, as James Colsey III was an assistant for the last 2 years, associate head coach in the previous season. And Coach Willie Simmons said, hey, look, I knew this was a guy who could take over this program and continue to build on this blueprint that I've established. Dad Franklin up ahead for a couple of yards.
I'm thinking it's time to start taking timeouts if I'm Norfolk State in this situation.
Well, they only have one remaining in this half, so they have to use it wisely.
Good point.
And under the 4-minute mark here, and you talked about this a couple of drives ago, the way that this offensive line has asserted themselves and been able to control the line of scrimmage. They called themselves the Mob. And right now, the Mob has held it down and is looking for a little bit of running room, and that's Thad Franklin running behind the Mob, clearing the way. Mob deep up front. You think about Ashton Grable and Cesar Reyes, TJ Lee, Charles Davis, Yannick Ungalade. Another look here.
I mean, and you're this close to getting in a position. Make the tackle there, but the great balance of Franklin on display allows him to accelerate through, keep his balance, and get the big play. And talking about that, Franklin, they described him. You knew they liked him and they wanted to use him because they said he's heavy. He's a big back. He weighs over 200 pounds, but he's smooth, heavy and smooth. And they got away with putting those big running backs that weigh 220, 220 plus in the game.
So they can cycle through a stable of running backs as Kelvin Dean gains 4 yards. They call him Woo, and we saw him turn heads and make everybody go woo. But Thad Franklin, I like what I've seen out of him as the belt.
Yeah, absolutely, trying to mix it up there. You see he weighs 230 pounds. Norfolk State right now, you need to stop right now. Incomplete pass, don't worry about what I'm talking about, but if you stop them in this run right now, hold them to a yard or so, you call the timeout, because in college football this year, you've got the 2-minute warning, and that's like an extra timeout. So dial it up, try and cause some havoc on this play, and be prepared to call a timeout.
2-minute timeout right after this play, as again slipping through is Kelvin Dean, but a flag comes out as well.
Okay. There's no foul for a chop block. This is the 2-minute timeout.
So folks, You certainly don't want to go anywhere because we have no idea how this one is going to finish. Florida A&M with the ball at the 35-yard line of Norfolk State. And we come back.
The Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge Kickoff is brought to you by Cricket 5G.
And on ESPN and ABC College Football, the lineup is absolutely great. Next Thursday, Deion Sanders and Colorado host North Dakota State to start us off. Then Temple, Oklahoma in Friday night's edition of what of a triple header we have for you on Saturday. And Sunday night, number 13, LSU hosts 13th ranked, or rather 23rd ranked USC in Las Vegas. You see the scores by quarter here, and now on 3rd and 2, after that 2-minute timeout, Norfolk State needing to come up with the big stop here. And this is a free play as it's heaved up.
Couple penalties.
And another one's going to come out. So Devon Allen was covering Carter Johnson, but then you also saw that movement across the line. Another look here.
You see him make contact, and that's A.J. Richardson trying to time the snap, and I don't even know if there was going to be a snap, but he got caught crossing that line of scrimmage. Good job of snapping the ball, not allowing him to get back without making contact, and not looking good for Norfolk State right now.
Offside, defense, number 92. That penalty is declined. Pass interference, defense, number 21. That penalty is enforced at the spot of the foul. Automatic, first down.
And I mean, it's a smart throwing it up, and that's obviously holding or pass interference, however you want to call it there. And Florida A&M will take the one that gives them the better yardage down the field.
So now fresh set of downs, 1:54 to go, and Dawson Odoms and his team only has one timeout remaining. What's their strategy here, Jay?
Run the football if you're Florida A&M. Safe ball security. Now you take a knee. See if Norfolk State is going to use that timeout. But I don't think they have a choice. They have to. Yes.
That's a great point, Q. And look, this is something that
Norfolk State
really hampered Norfolk State's success. They were in a number of ball games, but when it came down to it, losing by a touchdown or single digits, and that was something that Dawson Odoms really wanted to correct from last year to this year.
Team showed a lot of fight. You know, they wanted to be in this situation, and they had their chances as well. Maybe just not there yet. And give a lot of credit to Florida A&M. Coach said, give me what we need to win this game in the fourth quarter. And Florida A&M made one or two more plays in this second half to put them in the driver's seat. But the special teams from Norfolk State, they're going to, unless a miracle happens here, they're going to go back and be haunted by the blocked field goal, missed extra point. 4 points right there that we see would have made a difference, and let you know Norfolk State still has a way to go to get out of their own way.
The timeout, 1:45 remaining. Florida A&M keeps it on the ground, and Franklin goes down, picks up the first down.
That's it.
And once the ball is spotted, the clock will keep winding down. When you think about the new chief leading the way for Florida A&M and James Colsey III, and how he would manage a relatively new team in terms of 30-plus transfers, at 55 guys returning from last year's team, but a lot of newness and unknowns for Florida A&M. What questions did they answer for you here tonight?
Well, they believe in each other, and they're still the champs of HBCU football. They still have enough guys on that team that know what it's like to win and have the swag, and Daniel Richardson proved he can pick you apart from the pocket, protects the football very well, puts him in the right place to make a play.
And on the other side, the frustration there for Dawson Odoms, who saw his team again put up a valiant effort, but Florida A&M found a way to come back after being down 14-0.
When nobody else thought that Norfolk State had a chance, Dawson Odoms said, oh, there's going to be a game played in Florida. And they were almost an extra point away, 2-point conversion away from pulling off a huge upset. But this is going to be a fantastic season of HBCU football. You just have that feeling.
Well, he had several wins while coaching in Canada, and then after winning a national championship with Florida A&M as an associate head coach, James